Welcome to the Effects Loop. I'm Diaz.
I'm Chris.
I'm Scott.
And we're keeping you in the loop of the guitar community. This episode is brought to you by us. Bam. No, we actually just, that's it. No, we actually go check out our YouTube. We just released the demo of the Lambertone.
You just say Dembo?
I don't know. We're doing a bad, listen, all right. So we usually record, we were recording on Sundays. We get them out on Wednesdays. And then due to scheduling conflicts, we moved it to Mondays. And due to the fact that my job sucks right now, we've been having to do it on Tuesday. So we're like, I think none of us are mentally prepared to do this right now. It's throwing us for a loop. All right, so we've got the demo of the Lambertone pickups, the Cremas. It should be out. It's out. It should be out, right?
Should be. Yeah.
Should be. Which we've been saying for, what are we, episode 32? So 32 weeks in the making. You know, we treated this thing like a baby. We've actually carried it for 32 weeks. So if we can hold off for 8 more, it'll actually be like having a baby.
Put the demo out. We'll tease it for 8 weeks. And
yeah, I still don't think we have one, and I've seen it. So haters will say it's photoshopped.
Remember how for like 5 episodes, I was like, so how's that demo going? And now
then we finally got it recorded.
Yeah, and now I like that joke got so old that I stopped doing it.
Oh, don't worry. Everyone else in the group still knows it. It's fine. They still remind me like I didn't do my part yet, which it's
as far as they know, you didn't.
that's true. No one knows. I probably still haven't done my part. But yeah, go check it out. Look at it.
Preferably watch it. Don't just look at it.
Click on it. Do the thing. Listen to it. Actually, you know what? A weird thing did happen. So Chris posted it as unlisted so we could check it out, and we actually got a copyright violation. So that was pretty cool for one of the songs I play in there, which actually made me feel really good that I actually played good enough that YouTube's like, no, you're playing that song. At least YouTube knows what I was trying to play.
I don't know. We get a copyright violation on literally every single thing we post on YouTube.
Well, that's because we still haven't gotten written like permission from somebody's brother, so that way I can stick it to YouTube.
Well, it's not like they're taking it down. I don't care.
Well, no, but I still have like it's on principle that I have to stick it to YouTube.
Wait, YouTube.
How many listens does it take for us to get a cent on YouTube?
Like 1,000.
So we're like half a cent that YouTube owes us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna need that half a cent.
Actually, no, we got some. The Gibson video got some watching.
Yeah. Did we get any money from the Gibson video?
No, because we're still not monetized because we don't have the subscription numbers and view times. So if you're absolutely bored and if you haven't followed us yet, go subscribe and then watch our stuff like 200 times.
Yes, all 25 plus of you that listen to our episodes, please go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel.
Actually,
and then tell your friends.
I've been checking the listens on Podbean and they haven't been horrible. But one of the cool things was I went and I got bored because I was in the Gear Slum group and apparently someone gave them a very, very lovely review on iTunes. And I was like, oh, I wonder if anyone's reviewed ours. And we actually got a cool review from Tim Morley.
Oh, really?
Did you guys check that out yet?
I have not seen that one yet.
Inform us.
No, it was actually good because, you know what? Should we take the time to read it? No.
We've read all the other ones.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
You have it pulled up?
Hey, if you guys just pause the episode, and then when you come back, I should be to it. Let's see. That was Doug King. He actually gave us a good one. You know, we've got 5 stars right now. 5 out of 5. We haven't.
Wait, we're actually rated now?
I don't know. That's what it says. 5 out of 5. 6
rated
ratings.
Something other than mature.
Yeah. A highlight of my listening week. Perfect mix of personalities, and everyone is refreshingly laid back and kind to one another. They don't hear the pre-app when we're not kind to
Fuck
one
off,
another.
Diaz.
You know, when we ask for reviews that are positive, we're not asking you guys to lie about what you're seeing.
Hey Tim, that $5 will be in the mail next week. He goes, I love all things guitar culture nonsense as much as the next guy, but when I'm in the mood for a little more guitar culture and a little less nonsense, well, other than the occasional crazy Diaz moments, this is my go-to. That was my favorite review ever because I was just.
That's very pointed.
If you don't know, there is another podcast that is known for its guitar culture nonsense.
You know, they've been talking more guitar lately, and I've really been enjoying it.
I actually am one of those horrible people that have a podcast that really don't listen to podcasts. But that's because I got kids and a job, and I really just don't have time. I wish I had a job that I was able to listen to stuff, but I'm not able to.
Just put it on the overhead at work and let that be the entertainment.
There's someone
the day.
ordering it. Someone's ordering in the drive-thru. They're like, "Did someone just tell me that I need to change my G-string? What's going on?" Don't worry about that. It's okay.
Only to a wound one.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you need to change it to a wound G, not a straight G string. But I don't even know where we're going with this. Welcome to the effects loop where the topics are made up and the points don't matter. So what's new? Let's see, Chris, what's new with you?
The thing we had was we got the video done, so it kind of came down to me getting it all edited. So I hope y'all enjoy that, and hopefully it'll get uploaded by the time this comes out because my internet is slow.
Hold on. By the way, we know it was dark in there. Don't tell us. We know. We were there.
Other than that, I got a Honer Melodica or whatever the crap you pronounce it. So
Melodica, yeah.
Yeah, I've been bugging people with that around the house, per usual. So
I want to get one of those just to make my dogs mad.
Yeah, mine gave me a dirty look this morning when I walked into the room playing it, and he was laying on the bed, and I just got the death stare. So I walked back out because I was a little concerned for my life. But I think that's it for me.
What inspired this purchase other than
I found it and I had points on my corporate rewards thing, so I just used it because there was nothing else I really wanted other than a cookware that Marissa probably would have preferred me get, but this seemed like the better choice.
Yeah, because that's exactly what
fans.
That's exactly what she was looking forward to. An annoying melodica. I've never heard anyone play the melodica and me go, wow, that sounds great. It's like the oboe. 3 people in the world can make an oboe sound absolutely beautiful.
Or the recorder.
Everyone else, or the recorder. And everyone else is just don't do it.
Who's the guy who does music for Stephen Colbert's show on CBS?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't watch that one. I'm a Jimmy Fallon guy.
Okay. The band leader there pulled out a melodica one time. I've seen it.
The only person I care about is Paul Schaefer.
Mm-hmm. I need to figure out how to actually mic this up and put it through my pedal board. That's probably what would take it over the top. Not that it's over the top to begin with.
Ooh, that's what episode we should do. Favorite television band leaders.
Ooh.
I mean, Kevin Eubanks was pretty cool.
G.E. Smith, hands down.
Good call. Good call.
Sorry, I gotta go G.E. Smith.
Jimmy,
that man.
What about Jimmy Vivino though?
Is he the one that was on? Is he Conan O'Brien? Yeah.
He can rip.
No, I like him, but Paul Schaefer still is. I don't know. I think it's just because he's been around for so long, and he's just done so much. He's one of the ones that stick out the most. Him and G. Smith, but G. Smith is just awesome because I love watching his videos just about gear. I mean, he talks and he runs a simple rig too. Usually it's a Telecaster. I know one of the pedals he uses is a King of Tone. That's where a lot of his overdrive comes from. But he's a fantastic band leader. Who's the guy who took over after G. Smith?
I mean, Saturday Night Live has had a bunch of different people, but are you talking about the current guy?
The saxophone player.
He's still there, isn't he?
I don't know. He was the white guy with the curly brown hair or something like that.
Yeah, he's still there.
I don't watch that much anymore.
I mean, their guitar player is pretty well known though. What's his name? Is it Jared Schiff?
Yeah, he's a pretty big gearhead. He's pretty well known in the gear community.
He's been rocking an SG this season.
Yeah, because SGs are amazing. Man, I've like every Sunday I've gone to church, I've like been like, man, I'm gonna play the Firebird. I'm gonna play the Firebird. Man, every time I just grab the SG. That's the one. SGs. Anywho, Scott, or I don't know.
Yeah,
Scott,
you're on me
what's
now.
new with you?
Yeah.
Well, I was looking at the list and I was next, and I was like, but Marissa's also on there, so
Yeah, she didn't get anything new.
she didn't get on the episode.
Yeah, she didn't get on the episode.
Yeah, what the heck, Marissa? Oh yeah, she's not here to talk. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, well, find out if she listens.
So, I think I mentioned it last week. I got a Prince of Tone in like 10 minutes before we recorded.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh my word, it's a good pedal.
Yeah. It's, you know what, and a lot of people talk about two Prince of Tones as the king of tone.
Yeah.
It sounds a little different, doesn't it?
It's a hint different. I mean, I could never really get the king of tone working in the brief time I had one, and I just wanted the money more.
Yeah.
And that's like, there was an elaborate trade involved in that, and I wound up with a pedal that I really wanted, which was my tonal recall, was part of this whole like process. But
isn't that the guy who tried to trade it back to you too?
No.
Or something? No. Or he was trying to trade it for someone's like 50-50. What didn't the guy like in like we talked about him?
That was not that guy. But you did see him try. The guy I sold the Prince of Tone or the King of Tone to was on Gear Talk trying to get it, and he did follow up with me. He was like, "So how you liking my pedals?" You know, he did try to back trade with me, but it wasn't like that bad.
No way, bro, Cephas.
Yeah. I sold 2 of those pedals immediately, so it didn't work out. I was never going to be able to get them back. So yeah, anyway, Prince of Tone, great. Pretty much Sunday, I just played Prince of Tone on, and I used that like guitar Gretsch that I built. And just by kind of playing harder and softer, I pretty much did the whole set.
Yeah. Have you ran like a boost in front of the Prince of Tone?
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal sound.
Yeah, it's fun.
Prince of Tone takes a boost really well in front of it.
Well, what's fun is I actually turned off my compressor for most of the day too. I just liked it just right where it was. Which is weird. Usually I play compressor all the time when I
I usually have a compressor on.
Like, I don't practice with it, but when I get on stage I turn it on just to kind of clean up my like slop. So yeah, that was last week, I guess, so it doesn't really count. This week the only real new gear I got was I bought new strap pins for that Gretsch, because it was like strap was like slowly they were coming loose as I was playing. And I was like, the guitar's gonna fall out at any minute, kind of a thing. So
what type of strap pins were they?
Ones.
Were they like the round I'm trying to think of how to describe them. The strap pins that came with the Gretsch kit, were they like normal strap pins, or were they the Gretsch ones that are like they're real normal. Tiny? Okay.
They were like traditional, just normal, generic.
Because I know some of the Gretsch guitars have like specific Gretsch style strap pins. I'm trying hard to explain. It's hard to explain them. But they're really small. They don't have anything really helping hold the strap back compared to like normal strap pins, where it has a nice like kind of like a mushroom feel to it. You know what I mean? Where it's like wider. They don't have those.
Yeah, I use the Sorry, you're roboting, and I missed all of that.
Yep.
I didn't say anything. I just heard noise.
Oh, it just kept going for like 5 minutes.
Well, I don't know. I just got zero sound.
Well,
okay, so what I do is, those rubber washer things on anything that I don't have strap locks on, I just use those.
Yeah.
And I was using the company that shall not be named strap with it, so I really needed a strap lock with it.
Yeah, I need to get new straps.
Couch Guitar Straps is a very good brand.
Yeah, I like those.
I
I
love all
heard
of
that
mine.
there was supposed to be a Carter strap at some point.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that.
ADD kicked in.
I saw a prototype, so, but like,
Yeah.
I remember her saying something about like needing to put it on hold for a while. So,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, so my what's new. I sold my wireless. Gotta pay them bills, but I'm still kind of like in that honeymoon phase with HX effects. I'm still digging it. Like usually like by now I'd have something to complain about, and I really don't have any problems. I'm kind of excited because I'm gonna look and get an expression pedal and try to move and start using a lot of expression, like doing the expression stuff. And it was pretty cool because I was messing around, and I even made a patch, or a snapshot as it's called, on there on the fly Sunday in between rehearsal and service, and used it. And it's honestly, it's a really good intuitive system it's got. I love it. So
it's
I've been-
100% on the face of the unit, right? Like there's no, like you don't Bluetooth into it or anything, do you?
No, well, they've got the editor on the PC,
Yeah.
but you don't need that. It's a lot easier to use the editor. You can drag and drop stuff a lot easier, but using just the actual unit, you can do pretty much everything you can do on the editor. And it's really cool because like I use the 4-cable method with it, which requires you've just got to make sure you've got a certain patch to send and return where you want it. But it's easy because I can just save the different setup where I want and just go in and kind of just change the effects, and bam, I've got another snapshot ready to go. But it's really cool. I was going to set up my board, and the hardest part about the HX is the power supply. So I'm going to probably install a power strip underneath my board so I can just kind of use that. But, or something. I don't know. I got to figure something out. I don't know if a power strip will work if they're not facing the right way, because then that piece will stick out. I don't know. I got to figure something out power wise.
I think you should give that. So in the pre-app, we were talking about this, and I sent Diaz a link to something from Hosa that I think might do it.
Yeah, I gotta make it work. They've also got I can use my CS12, but I've got to get 2 different cables.
Oh,
which is kind of weird.
Do you need to get a
like
currency
adapters.
doubler to run the Helix? Is that what it is?
I think the current is the MA, right?
Yes. I said
Yeah,
currency
okay,
doubler, didn't I?
You said currency. I know you meant current,
Yeah.
but we will talk about how Scott just messed something up, and it wasn't Diaz who messed it up. Way to pull a
I think
Diaz
we-
there.
I think we'd all love a currency doubler.
I would definitely like a currency doubler. And then, oh man, that reminds me, I got to deposit my check. Okay, sorry, ADD moment. I get paid tomorrow, and I have to be to work at 5 a.m., so I have to drop my check off. So if anyone wants to find out where I work and my route to work, you can probably beat me up and steal my check. And if you go through all of that, you probably have earned it. But yeah, I've got to get a current doubler, and then the current doubler inverts it goes from center positive to center negative. So then I have to get something to reverse that. It's weird. It's kind of
That
crazy.
sounds like a lot of work.
Yep.
It is, but I'm kind of dragging my feet on it because honestly, I get great sounds out of just using the HX effects. So that's kind of why I've just been, and it's easy to move. I don't have to load up a board or anything. I literally just grab that, set it down, plug it in. I'm good to go. So that's like the benefits of it. But I guess we'll move on to gear news. EHX announced the Grand Canyon. So EHX has been kind of knocking it out of the park with I say that phrase a lot, knocking it out of the park.
You do.
They've been doing a great been doing a great job lately.
They're so prolific. Like, it seems like every week there's a new pedal from them.
Well, they're a pretty decent sized company, I would think. I'm sure it's one of those companies where you imagine there's a lot of people, but it's really not. Kind of like Boss. Like, you imagine Boss being like thousands upon thousands of employees. But you talk to all the guys there and they're like, no, that's just Matt Knight, that's just whoever. It's like there's like a small family. But yeah, they've been pedal after pedal they've been coming out with. I think they've really mastered the DSP technology. I'm guessing that's what a lot of this runs off of.
Oh yeah, it's definitely all digital.
So it's all digital. They've gotten a really good programming down. But the Canyon really adds to the Grand Canyon, really adds to what the Canyon left, what you had desiring for it. 12 delays. You got a maximum 3-second delay, 16-minute looper.
Do you imagine a 16-minute loop and like laying down layers on something that stinking long?
You want to start a Fish cover band? Yeah. All right. Let me see how many minutes I can get on my looper. I don't know. I think that's the only band I can think of. Some of these like, oh, no. Our shortest song's 30 minutes long. And you're like, no, sorry. But it's got a built-in tap tempo, right?
Yep.
Which the Canyon had a...
Actually, no, I don't think it's built in. I think that's an external tap tempo.
No, there is one.
There's a built-in one too?
I'm staring right at it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it's also...
Because that was the complaint with the Canyon, wasn't it? That it didn't have tap
the
tempo?
Canyon only had the tap in.
Yeah. All right, so it's got... you've got where you can go into looper mode. It's got a lot of cool things going on. You've got all these different delays. You've got a doubler, drum, sample, hold, which I'm guessing is kind of like freeze
or super ego. Yeah,
or you got a shim, which I'm shimmer, pitch. You've got a reverb on there. You got a tape delay, deluxe memory man, reverse delay, multi delay, mod delay, and then echo, which I'm guessing is, I don't know, it's got a bit crush on it. That seems
interesting.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, there's like, this honestly is going to be a delay lover's dream.
Yeah.
The only thing that I'm going to go ahead and say the big thing that everyone's going to be upset about. There's no presets. Well, there are presets, but it's not savable presets. It says that there's presets. I'm guessing it's different saved presets for each type.
I would assume so. I would assume that being something like the Pog setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll hold, if you tweak something on echo, it'll hold that if you switch down to reverb.
Mm-hmm.
I could see how that it would work that way.
You'd probably have to save it, but it's cool. It's got tap division quarter. You've got, looks like you got dotted eighth. You've got a triplet. You got eighth note. You got 16th notes, which if you can't read music, you won't know which one you're on. If you don't know what them shaped notes look like.
Everybody knows what a dotted eighth note is, though.
Thank you, the Edge. But it looks really cool. I'm sure it sounds great. If it sounds anything like the Canyon, because the Canyon actually sounded great.
Yeah, the Canyon was pretty good.
But it's definitely going to leave a lot to be desired with the no presets, in my opinion. Because the problem with when you've got all these delay types,
you want to use them.
Mm-hmm.
You want to use them all in different parts.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not able to pull up a preset on the fly, it's just kind of silly.
Well, and the other problem is knob. At $250, all its competition has presets
for
in the delay market.
More.
I mean, $250, you're getting what? Let's think. You can get a DD50 used.
Yeah.
You can get hell, Aaron Abubo got a Time Factor for 200 used.
L cap, DD. Sorry, a DL4.
DD20,
Yeah.
DD500. You got all these. So I think these are going to be a pedal that are going to sell for, what was it, 250, and they're going to tank it on the used market. I bet you these are going to go down in price for new. They're probably going to go down to 200 soon. They'll come out. They won't sell that great. It's going down to 200.
Maybe like 220, but there's a lot of features still on that thing. That's going to be a hard that's an expensive pedal to make in its current state. It's just really unfortunate that they didn't add a preset, even if it was like a external foot switch or something.
Well, there's a foot switch spot on there. I wonder.
That's for
what
the tap.
Foot switch is for.
I think.
Is that for
the tap or the expression pedal?
Well, there's an expression slot too.
Yeah.
So there's expression and then there's a foot switch. I don't know. Maybe they're not doing a great job of explaining if there are like actual presets you can pull up, or like maybe you can put like a what is it, like the Boss foot switch that has two of them, and you can like have to at least two presets to pick from. But I'm not sure. We'll have to look into it more.
Yeah, they have like the foot controllers for like their synth stuff that's like a simple TRS, so maybe they made it to where it'll work with that, where you can bank up and down. Maybe.
I doubt it though.
I doubt it too, but if you buy one, read the owner's manual for us and let us know.
Probably
Scott, buy one and read the owner's manual. And
I'm trying to sell delay pedals. I don't need more.
Let's see. So, all right. So moving on, Rolly came out with a beat maker. So Rolly had, what was it called? The Wave or?
I used to know this.
The key.
Seaboard. It was called the Seaboard.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. So they came out with those. If you don't know what those were, they were kind of like, it was kind of like a piano. They had different sizes, where pretty much all the keys just kind of ran into each other. It was kind of like a very large.
Well, it's like, imagine if a piano didn't have fixed note intervals. It could be like a trombone or a guitar or a fretless instrument where you have non-set intervals. It's
like a synthesizer thing going on, kind of.
It was all pressure driven, so you could it still had raised portions where the keys were supposed to be, so you could accurately play it, but you could lean on your fingers and create vibrato. And slide into notes and things like that instead of using like a wheel on the side, like on most.
And you could like more pressure you put, the more intense the sound was, and it was really cool for using like a vibrato. I've heard like people, it takes a lot to get the hang of, but it's they were cool and a novel thing, and it looks like they're taking their, again, that whole touch sensitive and a lot of variability in it into this new device for sure. Yeah, so this is, let's see, how do you explain this, Scott? It's a digital sampling pad. Words. Yeah, there you go. So most digital samplers have fixed buttons, and a lot of them are like are pressure sensitive, right? Like you put more in and you get a higher MIDI signal out of it and stuff like that. But this is non-fixed intervals. It's just a series of, I don't want to count that many, but it's a bunch of LEDs on what they call the light board. And so in a bunch of different demos, and depending on how you program it, those squares can be different shapes or sizes and do different functions. So you want it to be a chaos pad kind of a thing, you can. If you want it to be sampler blocks, you can. And it's wide open for people to program for it. Looks like it's 16 by 15. So I'm not doing the math. Someone do the math. Let me know. Get back to 15. Me. I'm surprised it's not 16 by 16. Maybe I can't count. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I counted 15.
Yeah, 15 tall. Interesting.
16 by 15, right?
Yeah.
So whoever does the math and posts first in the group gets a hug.
Not from Scott. I don't see Scott being a hugger.
I'm a big hugger.
Okay, then you get a hug from Scott.
Yeah, because I'm not. You gotta go to Chicago and get your hug. So like, yeah, this looks really cool because I've always been a Muse fan, and he does the whole like chaos pad in the guitar, and this looks like a lot of fun. And
Yeah, I wonder.
it's just
The best part is it's Bluetooth, so
yeah.
so it's not even like you're gonna have to route out a big core in your guitar and hack a chaos pad and run a big long cable like he had to. Like that was a big custom job to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And then
So-
Ibanez tried to do like
Oh
one
my
with
gosh.
like the mini chaos pad where it was just like routed into the guitar and the whole assembly was there.
It was
think so.
and it was a cheap guitar too.
Yeah, it was like an RG.
Yeah, it was not great. But this looks like a lot of fun. I mean, all right, so the cool thing about this, in my opinion, is the price point. It's only $300. And so Rolly, when they did the C Wave or whatever it was called, C thing.
Seaboard.
Yeah, that
Seed
too.
biscuit.
Yeah. What is this, a horse podcast? When they came out with the Seaboard, the prices on it, granted, there's a lot of things that are up there in price, like Nord, stuff like that. It seemed like it was pretty expensive. And
Well, also considering it didn't have any engine in it. It was just MIDI, if I
Yeah.
recall correctly.
I'm not sure, but it just seemed kind of expensive for something that came out and seemed kind of novelty. It wasn't something that a lot of people would use, but this seems like, I mean, this isn't going to be like every person's going to have one, but this seems like it would be a lot more accessible and usable in like a DJ setting.
Mm-hmm.
Or someone who's doing any sort of live music that wants to use different sounds not coming from a traditional instrument.
Mm-hmm.
This seems like something a lot of fun. I mean, I could see with the way church music has moved, doing a lot of different, I mean, like Hillsong, Young and Free, stuff like that. This is something that could be integrated into your worship set list and not something that would be very intrusive. It wouldn't take up a lot of space, and it seems like it's something that could easily flow in. It's not something that's taking up a huge bunch of real estate on your stage like this, the Seaboard would do.
Well, the Seaboard changed in a later version where they started coming out with blocks that were only about 2 octaves of keys, and then you could stack them together seamlessly. And what's kind of cool about this is they're packaging it. If you look on their site, they have the thing called the Songmaker Kit, where they throw a Seaboard block and this together because they're actually the same. They're the same length, top to bottom, so they just mate simply.
Yeah.
And that makes it more something like on the keyboard I bought recently on the Novation. It has I'm trying to count while talking. 16 pads on it for sampling and things like that, and it ties in with Ableton, so I could like QR loops with it, or I can do all sorts of different things with it, while still leaving the keyboard as a keyboard. So there's tons of functionality here, and at $300, it's actually quite comparable to a lot of stuff on the market in terms of price for a larger sampling pad. But the real sweet thing here that I think is really important in it is that they include instructional software as part of the package. That these things are confusing right off the bat, and they are giving you like a 6-month subscription to interactive lessons on an online platform and things like that. So it's all about. It also gives you it helps you get over that learning barrier and learn with
A lot of companies, when you come out with something new, their hardest part is informing people of how to use their new product.
Yeah.
And that's really cool that they're like, listen, this is really cool. If you like it, we'll teach you how to use it. It's not going to be this hard learning curve. Like, we will provide with you a way to learn how to use this and simplify things. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so check it out. I'm tempted to pick one up.
Do it.
If they sell, I have that many reverb bucks in my account right now. I could probably do it.
It comes out in 2 days.
Yeah. And
October 18th. So Thursday.
They're including free software with it if you order it before the 22nd as well. So
we know it's going to be on Scott's What's New next week. Now I spoke for you. You've just got to do it.
How much of the Stringjoy money do we have left? No.
Right, we need to get moving because we were going to do this really fast and then we didn't. So Car Amplifiers introduces the Telstar combo, so they got a new amp.
EL is it? It's 6L6 based, but it's compatible with EL34s and EL84s. Sorry, what was that, Chris? Okay.
I can't hear Chris.
He's very quiet.
Oh, I turned myself down because the dogs are barking. My bad. It's 34 and
there he is.
84.
Welcome to the Effects Loop, the professional podcast.
The ones that we got to worry about, dogs in the background.
Oh my gosh, we should do a dog episode. No. All right, but anywho, so Balthazar Audio Systems came out with the Film Noir 50, which is a new amp, right? Am I mixing them up?
Yep. Yeah,
there it is.
They're Chicago based too. I haven't run into these guys yet, so I gotta.
So if you want Scott to try it out, guys at Balthazar, that's a weird name.
I want to call it Belteshazzar.
Really?
Wasn't he?
Why?
Is that a Babylonian king?
I don't know. Balthazar is in the Bible. Isn't that like a demon name?
I thought Belteshazzar was the one from the Bible I was thinking of.
I don't know. Someone. All right.
What is this, a Bible
Diaz,
podcast?
you and I need to start a company called the Nebuchadnezzar.
I'm down.
Don't know what you're doing yet, but
and our first amp can be called the Ebenezer.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, the Balthazar is the Film Noir 50 is a 50 watt amp, EL34 based. What was the other really interesting? They have a unique tone stack, if I recall correctly. But it's a very simple loadout, very interesting sound out of it, to say the least.
I love how it says that it has that it increases, so it has a power supply design that increases sag for a distinctive overall voicing. I love how people say distinctive overall. It's like, yeah, it sounds weird.
Well, it's a lot of amps now do solid state rectification, so you don't get a lot of sag from it.
Yeah.
So that is a. So there aren't many saggy amps out there anymore.
I'm sorry. I'm
sorry.
12.
I stopped for a second because my audio dropped out.
All right, I laughed because you said saggy.
Yeah.
But,
so yeah, it works if you want a saggy amp. Diaz is 12.
I don't care anymore. I'm tired. It's my bedtime. All right. BC Audio launches the Bell Air 40. There's a lot of amps launching this week.
This one's really cool, though. This one interested me more than the other two. I'll say that. And it's not just because it costs twice as much as either of them. But
it's got a lot of different tube configurations, power tube configurations. You've got a pair, you can do a quad. You've got pentode, triode, fixed bias, cathode bias. It's got a lot of options.
It's a Swiss Army knife in there, man.
I thought it was American voice. It might be Swiss voiced. I was waiting for it, the sigh. But let's see, it's 100% all tube signal path, true point-to-point wiring, 4 6V6 GT power tubes, a GZ34 tube rectifier, 2 6SL7 GT octal preamp tubes. power tube configuration switches, 3 position negative feedback switch, presence and cut controls, 3 band EQ with bypass switch, 3 position bright switch, body control, impedance selector for 4, 8, or 16 ohms.
Did you just call it an impotence
And
selector?
hospital grade power cord.
Impotence. Listen, one
When
of
you
them
have too much
saggy
sag. Yeah.
one of them gets you saggy, one of them gets you impotent.
Oh gosh.
That's why I go with the Kemper. I just not even worrying about it. Impedance.
Impedance.
Whatever. Listen, they sell something for that. So get your impedance under control.
So
This is why we will never have more than 12 listeners.
all right. So what is interesting about this amp is it's not a 12AX7 preamp anymore. That 6SL7GT is not a highly used tube. Now, someone might, and I think I know exactly who it will correct me on saying, oh, well, this amp used this and this and this.
Jason?
Yep.
Is it Jason?
Yeah, it was Jason.
I knew it's going to be Jason because Jason is the king of knowledge of things that we have no clue about.
Yeah.
Because he lives in this whole other musical realm, which is absolutely it. Like, I'm so interested by it. I love when Jason like comes in with his like, by the way.
Yeah. So this thing's really adjustable, pretty cool what it can do, really good sounding too. Check out their website. They've got a demo up within 32 days of it, 32 weeks of it launching, guys.
Oh wow, they can actually get a demo up within 32 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, you know, my impedance is messing me up, so it's really hard for me to get things up in time with my impedance.
It's impeding your progress.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna skip this next one because let's hit this last one really quick. And the only reason why we're hitting this last one is because I'm kind of excited about it, even though I'm never gonna buy it. DiMarzio has a Richie Kotzen pre-wired Strat pickguard. So Richie Kotzen is, in my opinion, I think of him mostly for the Winery Dogs. Amazing voice, amazing singer, and amazing guitar player. But he was in Mr. Big. He was in Poison. I guess he replaced CC DeVille for some time. He was in Mr. Big and replaced oh my gosh, Paul Gilbert.
There you
And
go.
then what else was he in? I was looking him up and like to get an exact like look at what he was in. But he's really known for playing Telecasters. But he started using he had 2 signature models from Fender Japan released in 1996 that came equipped with DiMarzio pickups. So he's got an amazing tone, and I actually believe he uses the Line 6 pods.
Does he really?
Or like I think he uses the floors, like one of the floor models. Or he might use an HDX 500. But at one point when he was with the Winery Dogs, that's all he used. And it was really cool.
He has a Tech 21 fly rig.
Like a signature one? Oh, I want one of those. If you haven't checked them out, check out the Winery Dogs. One of my favorite songs they do is actually a cover. They do Fooled Around and Fell in Love. And it is amazing. So Winery Dogs is a super group. It's got Billy Sheehan from Mr. Big and Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater. So it's a 3-piece band and they do amazing stuff. So that was it. That was it on that one. So now we're going to move on to our topic. So this week in the music world, we had some pretty big news because our government actually did something that seems to help musicians. The Music Modernization Act came out, or was signed, which was a bipartisan legislation.
Well, I'm just a bill sitting on Capitol Hill.
But so we are definitely not the most educated people. Scott's probably the educated one in the group. but this is something that might be a little bit out of our range, but we're going to talk about it anyways.
I think it's significant because it's definitely going to change the landscape in a few different ways. I when I dug into it, the first thing I was like, oh, cool. Are they changing the compensation rates of music? And that doesn't seem to necessarily be what's happening.
I don't think they really could have. I don't think there's a whole lot that the government could have say in that without completely regulating.
Well, I mean, they could create like a minimum wage kind of scenario where it was like you get X percentage of sales guaranteed as a writer or something like that. But, record contracts are, that's a profession, is writing those things and negotiating them. So it's not like, I don't know. I don't think that's something that's going to be quickly changed. But the big thing that this did was it cleaned up how people pay for things in the digital era for sure. I kind of had two theories of what's going to happen as a result of this. One, I think it's pretty much guaranteed that within the next 6 months, every musical service is going to cost more.
Yeah.
And
those businesses are always going to want to make their margins.
Yeah.
And they're not going to eat any of it. They're going to pass it on.
Yeah. And also when you realize that Spotify has been $10 a month since its inception. So it's kind of one of those things. A lot of these services are probably due for a refresh on their pricing. So you're going to hear people complaining about that left and right. Like the same way you hear every time Netflix raises their rates,
Yep.
And people are bemoaning it, that's bound to happen. And I think it's going to get blamed on the bill, even though I don't necessarily think anything in this bill really affected that.
No, but it seems like this bill is, there was a few parts that really helped try to protect the artist.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like, from what I understand, there was a lot of artists that supported this. And Scott, you said there was quite a few record companies that supported it as well.
Even like Spotify publicly supported it. So
do you think they meant it, or do you think they were just kind of like...
Yeah, I was going to say that could just be publicity at this point.
It was definitely written by a PR person, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a good or a bad thing. It could possibly help in the sense that by creating what this bill does by setting up that centralized pay system, that it's going to create I think it's a little awkward because whenever you set up a proxy organization, they're going to get a cut of something probably. How do you fund that? Unless it's funded by the taxpayers, which I don't think it is.
Well, and one of the things, it's from what I read and tried to understand, was that there was a lot of stuff too. There was a lot of royalties and stuff, or there was a lot of money from music that was floating around that didn't make it to anyone.
Yeah, artists before 1972.
And this helps cut a lot of those loopholes.
Yeah,
with that money out.
It does. And in that sense, it's really good. The other part that might actually be interesting in here, so if now all these companies are not negotiating separate agreements with every company and everyone's trying to work out a new deal and all that kind of stuff, like it's just flat rate, like here's what we license at and that's what it is. I'm curious if we'll get the things where it's like Tidal gets the album 2 months before anybody else does, or like how
is Tidal still a thing?
Tidal's still a thing. Or how like
well, that's what's new to me.
Was it Taylor Swift pulled all her music off of one of the platforms?
I think she pulled everything off of Spotify.
Yeah. So I'm curious if that gets affected through this. But where I was going before was if you smooth out the transaction, that might mean that it's cheaper to do business in the sense of like your operating costs. You don't have all these crazy negotiations you have to figure out. And that might actually open up the market then to other platforms as well. There might be more streaming services coming online as a result of this.
Yeah. Actually, Taylor Swift is still on Spotify, so it's something else she pulled off of.
I thought it was like when her album came out, she pulled off, or There was like
I think that wasn't that
Adele,
iTunes
I think at
or
one
something?
point. Yeah, she had an exclusive with Apple, I think.
That's what it was. Yeah.
But like
sounds
Kanye's
right.
record only came out on Tidal. Kanye owned parts of Tidal.
I was about to say. I wonder why.
Yeah. So, we'll see what comes of this.
Yeah, this will be definitely something. And also, if you're listening and you happen to know more than we do about this, continue the conversation in our group. Go to the group, because this is definitely something that I think is, as musicians, we should be looking at.
Yeah.
And
I think we actually
artists
have
in
a
general.
couple of artists in our group too, so we're curious to see like your opinions on this.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a group?
Yeah, our group.
I was just kidding. I'm messing around. All right, go ahead, Scott. Sorry, before I derail it.
I've lost my thought.
Way to go.
Oh, have you ever been so stupid that you can make someone else dumb across the United States? I have. But yeah, I think it's really something cool that we should keep an eye on. I mean, there's not been a whole lot done to protect artists. It actually seems like there's been a lot of complaints with artists with the music going to streaming and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of people who are like, oh, I don't make any money. And honestly, it's really tough because a lot of those artists that are saying that are like artists that haven't been relevant since the 80s. And so
Ted Nugent.
you're kind of... I forgot who else there was. There was a drummer. I think it was the drummer for Wasp or something.
Quick, name 2 Wasp songs without looking at your phone.
I don't know. That was my point. That was my argument on it. So like that was kind of my thing, is a lot of the people complaining aren't really relevant anymore. So, but this would be really cool to see, what happens for artists and if they're going to start being actually taken care of financially at some point. And there's the loopholes that a lot of these companies have used and a lot of the record companies have used to pad their wallets a little bit more whenever it could be going to the artist.
Well,
So
here's the biggest problem to me of all this is, remember when XM radio came out and we all thought this was like the coolest thing ever, that you could have radio without commercials?
Yeah.
Remember how much XM cost?
it was
It's
expensive.
like $30 or $40 a month. But
Then they started giving it away whenever you bought the car.
yeah, for
They're
like
you can
6
buy
months.
this. You can buy this Honda, and it gets 24 months of free XM radio, and then no one ever renewed their service.
Oh yeah, I've got a dead XM radio in my car right now.
Same.
Oh no, sorry, I give XM money, like I give them like $5 a month to get traffic data. That's what I use it for. Now that
Don't you just take the train?
I walk 30 feet from my bedroom to my living room to work these days, so it's not really
He needs the traffic for that.
yeah. But like when I used to commute an hour every day, it was good to know if the highway was jammed up. Anyway, music used to cost money, and the real flaw in this, we can talk about compensation rates and things like that, but per play, we are now listening to more music than ever and putting less money into the system than ever. Really, like those of us who subscribe to music services are only putting in $10 a month. Like there's not much going in. And like I think that's part of the problem with this whole like we don't value music financially as much as we used to.
No.
And the market just scooped out the profits, because like a CD used to cost $14.
And then Lars Ulrich called it with Napster.
Yeah.
Gosh darn Napster.
Well, and at a point in my life, I was torrenting music. Streaming killed that for me.
Scott.
I know. I torrented
How
some music. I
dare
bought
you.
others. I still have 200 some CDs laying around my house. And like novelties like vinyl, which I'm sorry, vinyl is still a novelty, and I collect it. I get it. It's fun, but
Yeah,
it's
I've got vinyl too. Yeah.
it's still a novelty, but that outsells CDs now.
Yeah.
So I mean, one of the biggest problems in music right now is that a traditional revenue source has just kind of disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And really the only way to make music or make money in music is either to license it to a movie and film and like TV, or tour relentlessly.
And even then, touring, you're making your money off of your merch. A lot of your money.
I don't know.
If you're not a big name,
concert tickets have gotten so expensive these days.
If you're not a big name, yeah, but a lot of that goes to promoters, goes to paying your whoever is working for you. You've got, I mean, there's a lot of bands that say there's a lot of bands that say they're I'd say when it comes down to their percentage, like what gives them the most profit, mm-hmm. their merch is where all their profit is.
Mm-hmm.
It's an easy play. I mean, that's definitely where their highest profit margin is, for sure.
That's probably where they get most of their money too.
Wow.
That's why they tell you 7 times to go buy their merch.
Yeah.
We'll be signing merch over there if you'll just please pay for it. So, but I say, yeah, I mean, it's definitely something we're going to watch out. I want to see what happens. Because, there's a lot of stuff that everyone says, this is one of those things I think that's not going to have a very fast, dramatic change, but we'll see the change over the next year or so.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I really think this will be the nice excuse to raise rates.
Yeah.
Because stuff just has to get more expensive in time. I mean, this is something we see in the guitar and pedal industry too. Of like the guitars have to get more expensive over time. Inflation is happening.
Yeah.
And at some point, a builder, after building a pedal for 10 years, has to raise the rates on the price of there, and everyone goes up in arms of like, oh well, this used to be $200. Why is this $220? Those kind of things.
Tariffs.
Yeah, tariffs are not going to change anything on this one.
I know. I just felt like yelling about it.
Okay.
All right, but so that's our opinions. If you don't like them, it's too late. You're at the end of the episode. Just gotta deal with it. But let's see. I say we wrap this sun gun up. So it is my bedtime. So thanks for joining us. Leave us a review on iTunes like Tim Worley did. That was very nice. If you don't like the show, just write it down and mail it to yourself. It's the same thing because you got the stamp on there. It's a certified letter. Follow us on Instagram at The Effects Loop. Join our Facebook group, and you can talk more about this topic and other topics and just how you feel in general. Go to facebook.com/groups/The Effects Loops. And then you can go check out our YouTube. The demo for Lambertone Pickups, the Crema, is up there. We put all the episodes on there you can listen to while you're at work. If you're not able to listen on your phone, you can just put YouTube up in the background and no one will be the wiser. And you can email us if you have any suggestions for topics, or you feel like just giving us the big old middle finger. theeffectsloop@gmail.com. Just send us a picture of a middle finger. That's what I send to Scott every once in a while. Let him know who's boss.
It's still me.
So thanks for...
Yep, still.
Still Scott. Scott's still a boss. I remind him. I send him the middle finger.
You're the boss. Number one.
Yeah, that's what that is. So for The Effects Loop, I'm Diaz.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Scott.
And you guys have a good week. See ya.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna be the worst week ever. We finally get the demo out. Worst episode ever. We are strong. We have to just keep pushing along. We are one. So let's come together, show some love. Very many
visionary. Why is negativity always drawn out? Picture every visualized love. Energized lives together. We undefeated. A plan to make where there's no gloves needed. When we weed into the mindset of achieving and believing in community that remains happy. Then the after, the world should be one. Hate annihilated, every heart is one. Love again.